intelektualnej cywilizacji naszych intelektualistów pochodzi stąd, że nie czyta się na głos. Olbrzymi procent literatury odpadłby, gdyby autor czytał na głos. Po prostu wstyd by mu było. Kłamstwo byłoby oczywiste. Kiedy człowiek czyta tylko oczyma, wszelkie kłamstwa mogą przejść niepostrzeżenie przy najbardziej krytycznym oku. Usta są odmówienia prawdy albo nieprawdy, ale oczy są właściwie estetyczne. Oczy widzą, czy coś jest piękne, czy brzydkie, czy celowe, czy antycelowe. Tu nagle ja, który zawsze brałem marksizm, filozofię marksistowską.
Should I tell a funny story? They took each of us individually. I was taken to a car and brought to Hosher Street where they were planning to search my apartment. We rang the bell. A commotion. Our maid was named Jenny, a very pretty girl who was promiscuous. She had a fiancé who worked at Borman's as an electrical engineer. He was her fiancé in the evening hours. She was a very intelligent girl, very charming. It was the police, so she had to open the door. It was midnight. Some guy was in our bed, very good looking. A dress coat and a dress shirt were hanging on the chair. It turned out that he was a footman from the Italian fascist embassy, a Pole. Her sister's fiancé, apparently. He was in despair of losing his job. The plainclothesman wanted to take him in along with me. He explained that he worked in the embassy, so the plainclothesman didn't believe him. Finally, we all started laughing because the situation was laughable. The plainclothesman called the embassy to find out who worked there and then handed him the receipt. He took it and explained that he had dropped by the time and someone who lived there was being arrested. His brother, who was a graphic artist, became known after the war. She illustrated children's books and wrote exclusive. Stearns had not been invited, but they were there in the restaurant. We were all at a very large table in that private room. There was another smallish table in one corner of the room. After a while, a tall, bald man came in and sat down at that table with an actress in the Polish theatre who was known with the Soviets and everybody else, a good-looking blonde. He was distracted, nervous, in a state of excitement. He was constantly moving, making the rounds, asking people, and enough, I want you to saying he ordered this or that, a sumptuous feast, a feast in time, a day, 2 or 3 times. I asked him, tell me,
którzy mają energię, żeby iść do tego światła, ale w celu to było potężne. Znowu moje estetyzujące oczy widzą, że ich oczy czekają na objawienie i biorą to za prawdę, a głos mi mówi, że to jest zafałszowane. W uszach słyszę, że to jest fałsz, że to wszystko jest niedociągnięte, nieprawdziwe, nieudowodnione. I to była dla mnie duża tortura.
A poem for Aleksander Wat in response to my century. The devil is in history. This is the least useless use of a poet. A turned fragment of noise or marking with intention in context. So it is almost nothing and just an animal often forgetting how remarkable endurance is at all. So this isn't that important. A book about a body. A writing body crossed off things we will not imagine, to let alone the present to those in the future. Life stands for something omnivorous, enormous. Book as stand-in for a life, like within religion. If a book could answer honestly, then it would be more afraid for having done so. But it is in a living coma, an empty state, and it would lose its mind. People you love dying before you, in the next cell, uneasily led to hear them go. Each time after we take by the river with the white orb, I wake up in the middle of the night deluged by incidents, situations and people I forget to mention. Some of the incidents are significant. I am to blame. All grass is flesh. And where did I get this taste for elegance from? In all his life, he never had the taste for elegance he had then after rags, an embodiment of the West. Changed terribly, like night and day, and what waits between and beyond them. A gesture of friendship, eyelids lowered, narrow, porcelain, then thick like tyres, not so much a moth as a mummy. I thought he should use the obituary to cut himself off from the old Wat, from the past, in a way that would break ties. He said we were eyewitnesses to a confusion of tongues, an apocalyptic shattering of cultures that had wished to rule solely by the laws of human reason. It left behind the simplest words. Like two people witnessing a simple event who describe it to each other as it occurs. One single century, or nearly that, not quite.
Człowiek, kryształowy. Fakt jest wieloznaczny. Wtedy jeszcze w snach unosiłem się. W więzieniu sen to wielka ulga. Mijają dni. Liczysz je. Ale to sen przynosi ulgę każdego dnia. Starałem się żyć życiem wewnętrznym. Bez powolności. Przeczucia już gęstniały. Biała dla cenzury. Nie tylko interpretować, ale zmieniać własnoręcznie świat. Przeczucia tak już gęstniały. Lewituję w próżni, nie czuję przemieszczeń. Moje stopy jedynie wewnętrznie wychodzą, kiedy nie słyszę kroków. Przestrzeń nie widzi mnie, jestem lżejsza od siebie, o ten dźwięk, kierunek historii, który obudził mnie błysk. Szyby okna wiatr, trzask tłuczonego szkła, rozpad, atak ostrego światła, ewakuacja teraz, od wtedy, od nigdy, od niemożliwe, od nowa, od nowa, od nowa. To uczucie odwołania przyszłości, odwołania w pustkę, odwołania przypisów, odwołania do źródeł, każdy. Po symulacji. Autentyczne zamieszki na ulicy. Odkształcone powierzchni, całe zbióry nocy, tak nie wymarzy cisza. Cisza. Wyzwanie. Pusta przestrzeń. Karetki wysłane na telefon, który się schował, kiedy wyciekły pewne fakty online. Alarm, stan niegotowości, przyspieszony mój puls plus kilku innych znieruchomiałych gości. On zbladł, krwawy, z nosa na asfalt wysypane wnętrzności, torebki, apteczki samochodowe. Czy wiesz, jak się nazywasz? Chwila ciszy. To już nie chwila. Całe życie było jak fala. Fala pytania. Czy dobrze się czujesz? Czy wiesz, jaki jest dzień? 4 czerwca. To rokuje lepiej. Wciąż blady, wciąż krwawy, wciąż na imię Adam. Jak pierwszy człowiek, który przypadł za mną. Tracił przytomność, przyziemność, chwycił ramiona, jak w kleszczy ostatniego wdechu. Raz, dwa, 3, 4, 5.
Digression on bedbugs and lice, Aleksander Wat. Those jets of water, those jets of water, dirty jets of water, those clothes, those smelly clothes, those wet clothes, those wet clothes thrown on the floor, the lice on the clothes, the wet clothes on the floor, the dirty wet floor, the lice on the clothes on the floor, the clothes on the floor, the lice and their descendants, the great-grandparents and grandparents, the grandparents of the lice, the blonde lice, the fat blonde lice, the blonde lice and the blonde hair, the blonde hair, the blonde lice and the brown hair, the brown hair, the blonde lice and the black hair, the black hair, the black hair, the crow black hair, above the trees in a dream, the crows, your portion of crow, above the trees in a dream, the green trees, the dark green trees in Poland in a dream, pine, birch, willow, linden, poplar, linden, pine, birch, poplar, birch, willow, elm, larch, alder, birch, linden, maple, incantations and oasis, birch, linden, maple, mulberry tree and white acacia, fruit trees and mountain streams, the lice, the carriers of lice, the intellectuals, the carriers of lice, fasten onto intellectuals, the blood of intellectuals, the sweeter blood of intellectuals, blood, terrified of blood, the bugs and the bed bugs, our blood, our thinning blood, the blood that you don't see, on the other side of the wall, the blood you don't see, on the other side of the wall, you dream a lot, on the other side of the wall you dream a lot, those jets of water, those jets of water, dirty jets of water, the lice just loved him, poachers kill animals, kill the lice, with his fingers he killed the lice, on the other side of the wall, with his fingers, his fingernails, his black fingernails, black with soil, his fingernails, the black soil of Poland, his fingernails, his black fingernails, killing the lice with his fingernails, cracking the lice with his fingernails, a crack, the Black Maria. We kept driving. One of them got out, two of them got out and driving. One of them got out, 3 of them got out and driving. One of them got out, 5 of them got out, a crack in the Black Maria. Dark trees and green trees, black trees and black crows, trees, the shadowless trees. Through the window, there is no window. Through the crack in the window, there is no window. Through the window, my wife, there is no window. My wife and my son, through the window, there is no window. My wife, my son, the lice, enormous colonies of lice, a new kind, poppy seeds, tiny lice, all over him, the tiny lice, dark and gaunt and burning with hatred, tiny poppy seeds, tiny lice. I dreamed every night, tiny poppy seeds, tiny lice. I dreamed every night. I don't remember my dreams now. But my life has been a constant search for an enormous dream in which my fellow creatures and animals, plants, chimeras, stars and minerals were in a pre-established harmony, a dream that is forgotten because it must be forgotten and is sought desperately, and only sporadically does one find its tragic fragment in the warmth of a person, in some specific situation, a glance, in memory too of course, in some specific pain, some moment. I loved that harmony with a passion, I loved it in voices, and then instead of harmony there was nothing but scraps and tatters, and perhaps that alone is what it means to be a poet. The lice covered with lice, the heated cattle car covered with lice, no license to Bianca covered with lice, tough bristly faces covered with lice, city of bread covered with lice, Soviet crab meat covered with lice, the dreams, no preview available for this page, the dreams, prophetic dreams, no preview available for this page, premonitions in 89-94, no preview available for this page, suddenly kicking, brutally showing, no preview available for this page, in the sun in the morning, buy this book, glow of the blast furnace, buy this book, religious experiences in 155, 157, buy this book, 196, 197, 230, 291, 294, buy this book, before the war, October twilight, buy this book, a million leaves rustling, October twilight, all the birds singing, October twilight, signs, birds, omens, October twilight, 5 birds, 2 rabbits, not afraid, a state of grace, under the maple tree, a state of grace, a million leaves rustling, a state of grace, but I had to keep going, under the maple trees, the sweat and the nightmares, under the maple trees had to keep going, the sweat and the nightmares had to keep going, scratching our heads and his fingers searching for lice, his long efficient fingers searching for lice, never any shortage of lice searching for lice, the scissors, silver scissors searching for lice, louse, squirrels, lice is the common name for lice, scissors, silver scissors, 5,000 wingless insects, scissors, silver scissors, absolute parasites that live on the outside, scissors, silver scissors, hosts, warm-blooded, scissors, silver scissors, all birds and mammals, scissors, silver scissors, with the exception of the monotremes, no lice, pangolins, no lice, bats, no lice, lice and whales, no lice. In one of your poems you killed a turtle, I never killed a turtle, a whale, a turtle, I never killed a turtle. On the other side of the river, not a single turtle. A long silver river, never not a single turtle. Burnt out a nest, a flaming lamp, bedbugs are not turtles. Advancing in columns, bedbugs are not turtles. In waves like an army, bedbugs are not turtles. A certain slowness of movement, bedbugs are not turtles. Every day up the wall and ceiling, a powerful bulb that burnt all night. To a certain point, no further, a powerful bulb that burnt all night, lost in philosophical reveries, a powerful bulb that burnt all night, the sun in the morning, a powerful bulb that burnt all night, surrounded by herbs, the sun in the morning. The smell of honey rose me, the sun in the morning. On the other side of the river, rivers, ponds, brooks, a glass of hot tea, a vision smooth, pure living water, hole in the ice of a river, the other side of the river, how a river feels after the winter, the other side of the river, smooth, pure living water, the forests, the mountains, smooth, pure living water, jets of water, dirty jets of water, smooth, pure living water, jets of water, dirty jets of water, the other side of the river, jets of water, dirty jets of water, of course it's my fault, jets of water, dirty jets of water, of course it's my fault, the lice, the colonies of lice, the world of fathers and uncles, the lice, the colonies of lice, Polish fathers, Polish uncles, the lice, the colonies of lice, the world outside the window, there is no window, fields, stubble, groves, woods, there is no window, the lice, the colonies of lice, bedbugs are not turtles, the colonies of lice, bedbugs are not turtles, in the morning, the sun and shadows, a void forms around the person, on the balcony of the waiting room, suns and shadows are forming void, bread and boiled water, a void around the person, cabbage leaves, tomato paste, a void around the person, the lice, the colonies of lice, blonde lice, dirty water, lice, boiled lice, the burning bulb, bread and boiled water, the boiling lice, in the mornings on the other side of the river, bedbugs are not turtles.
Wat describes Stavar, an early cellmate and an orthodox and questioning Marxist who knew how much bread was produced in Russia in 1913 and how much in 1928, how much sugar was consumed per capita. For people like Stavar, says Wat, Marx's writings were religious texts to be memorized like the Talmud. I knew a person who was learning the Soviet encyclopedia in this way. At that time, the encyclopedia had only reached the letter K, and so he was incredibly well educated up to the letter K. What would we, who can only imagine suffering like Wat, do in such circumstances as his? In my century, Wat demonstrates that he has the wisdom of a mystic and the deep strength of an underground river. I hope that I too could find such things within me if I needed to. I am afraid of the sun and the turning of the earth and the magic of the moon. I am afraid of dogs and beautiful women. I am afraid of the nuns of Krakow. I am afraid of the high, thin chimes of the castle at 3 a.m. I am afraid of certain birds that know too much and say too little. I am afraid of the terrible fire in the eyes of Taylor Swift. I am afraid of my children forgetting me. I am afraid of everything.
Niesamowite jest, jak ta książka chwilami wydaje się aktualna i miałam wrażenie, że nie czytam o XX wieku, ale o XXI. Mechanizm przemian opowiedzianych życiem Wata odbija się w dzisiejszym świecie nie tylko jako jakaś zapomniana konsekwencja, ale dziwna mutacja. Niestety dużo tu analogii do tego, co dzieje się wokół nas w Polsce. Wiele jest takich fragmentów, które zapadają w pamięć, wypowiedzi Wata o komunizmie, ale myślę, że warto tutaj przywołać stwierdzenie, że prawdziwa sztuka polega na śmiechu. A ludzie dzisiaj boją się bardzo wielu różnych rzeczy. Boją się o pieniądze, boją się o swoje zdrowie, boją się o przyszłość, boją się o swoją rodzinę. Myślę, że niektóre lęki są takie same, jakie miał Wat, bez względu na to, co tak naprawdę się w naszym życiu dzieje.
This is the least useless use of a poet. That's what I wrote in the poem I wrote about this book. Because a poem is just a turned fragment of noise or marking with intention in context, so it is almost nothing. And a poet, despite delusions of grandeur, is just an animal, often forgetting how remarkable language is at all. So this isn't that important. But this is a book about a person who wrote poetry, not a poet. And his life crossed things we cannot now imagine, let alone present to those in the future. His unthinkable resilience, his heart and his humour is the best of human beings, and his life stands for something enormous, and this book stands for his life. It is a testament. This is not my favourite phrase, but it is representative of the tone of the book. Each time after we tape, I wake up in the middle of the night deluged by incidents, situations and people I forgot to mention. Some of the incidents are significant, and some aren't. If I could answer this honestly, then I would be more afraid for having done so. But I am scared of being imprisoned. I used to get into lots of trouble and worry every day that one day I would be sent to prison and my life would become a living coma, an empty slate, and I would lose my mind.
Fragment, ponieważ tutaj Steven roznosi specjalne fragmenty z książki. A możecie je, jak chcecie, przyczepić do naszego wspólnego wiersza, to będzie miał taką dziwną konstrukcję, ale w ten sposób połączymy się w jednej materii. Tutaj. Możecie przyczepić więcej niż jedno słowo. Różne doświadczenia i ćwiczenia wewnętrzne. Więc jedno było takie. Żeśmy się wcale jakoś misternie ułożyli do snu. Rumor wieczorny był ogromny. Ożywienie. Zupełnie jak w kawiarni. Prawie wesoły nastrój. Jeszcze nie było tej kurtyny mieszanego potu. Jeszcze się tego nie czuło. Dopiero jak się zasypiało, to był ten czas przed zaśnięciem, w którym się całkowicie odgradzałem. Właściwie po 2-3 razach Już cały ten rumor zupełnie mi nie przeszkadzał. Więc wychodzę w myślach z celi, idę korytarzem, potem wychodzę na podwórze, odbywam całą wędrówkę odwrotną, tyle że nie idę potem do klubu, tylko wszystkimi ulicami bardzo szybko, jak błyskawica. Ale tak, żeby nie przepuścić ani jednej pięknej, ani jednej ulicy, ani kawałka drogi. Znałam dobrze Lwów. Jest późno. Dozorczyni domu nie otwiera bramy, parę słów z nią zamieniłam. Wychodzę po ciemnych schodach. Drzwi już otwarte. Czekają na mnie Ola, Andrzej. Bardzo spokojnie. Spokojna radość. Skupienie. Radość prawie beztroska. To znaczy bez żalu, że trzeba będzie wracać. Pełne korzystanie z tej radości. Siadam przy stole. Stół okrągły. Ola na jednym kolanie, Andrzej na drugim. Ale przedtem Ola mi daje szklankę bardzo gorącej, bardzo gorzkawej, bardzo dobrej herbaty. Marzyłem o herbacie. Moje marzenia kulinarne wtedy, kiedy nie byłem jeszcze taki wygłodzony, były marzenia o herbacie. Przy czym herbata dla mnie miała znaczenie nie tylko kulinarne, ale właściwie magiczne. Wydawało mi się właściwie magiczne oczyszczania się. Wydawało mi się, że jak strumień gorącej, gorzkiej herbaty przejdzie przeze mnie, to cały ten brud, który z celi we mnie wszedł, którym byłem przesiąknięty aż do środka, że ten cały brud rozporem na mnie wmyty. Herbata była symbolem oczyszczenia. Miałem poczucie straszliwego fizycznego brudu. Ten fizyczny brud był tak silny, że już byłem moralnym brudem, że już był psychicznym brudem.
Drove into something almost like a town, quite extensive. The buildings were solid, heavy, well proportioned, decently kept up. What had this place been under the Tsars? Certainly not a prison or a barracks, perhaps a scientific institute, a broad lawn in the centre of which was an enormous branching bird-filled tree. Tree, 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 I repeated aloud as if I had just learned the word until finally my escort, who was used to my being silent as required by regulations, began looking at my lips in amazement. The leaves had curled into golden scrolls under and around the tree. Had I been able to stop and lie down under that maple tree to listen to its million leaves rustling and the birds singing in that beautiful October twilight, then all my exhaustion, all the sweat and nightmares of Zernostino would have fallen away from me, but I had to keep going.
Przede wszystkim wspomnienia. Pamięć staje się mikroskopijna. Było dwoje oczu, w których było współczucie i jakieś pocieszenie, że właściwie wszystko minęło, że to są rzeczy przemijały.
Thank you very much.